This is now the final section on interest, and we will be looking at compound interest, right? And the formula is over there, where A is equal to P bracket 1 plus I raised to the exponent n. And of course, just as we know from previous examples, A is your final amount, P is the initial amount that is either invested or borrowed, I is your interest rate, which you need to divide by 100, and n is the number of years that you borrow for or invest for. So our first example says that Diego invests 18,000 Rand, so that is the P amount, in orange for 6 years at 15% per annum, so that is in purple. And then they say that this is compound interest, so we know that we need to use this formula, right? So they want to know the future value of his investment, so that's our first instruction. What will the investment be afterwards, after the 6 years, and how much interest is received is the second question for Diego. Let's go to Jack. They say if Jack withdraws 15,000 after 4 years, so this is the after amount, and it was invested for 4 years, what is the amount of the initial investment? So that what tells us this is the initial amount. If the institution has an interest rate of 5% compound interest. So those are the questions that we will be answering. So let's start with number 1, Diego. Okay, so we need to answer 2 questions for this one. We have to find the future value of the investment, and we also need to find how much interest was received. Alright, so we have the P value, the N value, and the interest rate, and we know that it's compound interest, and so we say that A is equal to P 1 plus I to the exponent N, right? He invests 18,000 Rand, and the interest rate is given to us as 15, and he invests this money for 6 years, and then we find that this value is equal to 41,635 Rand and 9 cents. So that is what his investment is worth after 6 years. Then I ask how much interest he received. So the interest will be the difference between the final amount and the initial amount. So it's going to be 41,635,09 minus the 18,000 Rand. So Diego receives 23,635 Rand and 9 cents in interest over the 6 years. So we now move on to the last example, which is about Jack. So again, Jack withdraws 15,000 after 4 years. So we have the after amount, the 15,000 as the after amount, and then they say that they want the initial amount P. If the interest rate was 5%, compound interest, I already have the formula up top. I substituted the values, and now it's just a matter of solving these equations, right? So we of course want to solve for P, so we want to go ahead and just divide both sides by this bracket and that exponent to get rid of it. So we divide both sides by this, right? On the right hand side, those two values will equate to 1 when we divide it, so we just have to work out the left hand side. Okay, as per the calculator, this works out to 12,340,54 equals P, And so therefore the initial amount invested is 12,340 Rand and 54 cents. So again, we used our formula, and then we found that we needed to get rid of this, and so we divided it on both sides to undo the multiplication. And then after P was isolated, that gave us our final answer of 12,340 Rand 54 cents.